Let's talk about disclosure. But before we do this, we need to understand what test entry and test exit criteria represent. First of all, it is important to state that the test entry criteria is that set of generic and specific conditions that permit a process to go forward with a defined task. Translating that, mainly the purpose is to prevent a task from starting that will require more effort to complete compared to making sure that those entry criteria that we defined are met. It's just a prevention mechanism in order to not start something that doesn't have the required preconditions set and where we are going to encounter a significant delay because of those missing items. Moving to test exit criteria, as per the name, this is that part at the end of a stage where we assess if we met our objective and if we met our goal. We are using test entry and test exit criteria for each test level, and they should be used for all of the test phases in order to better control and know what you need to do in order to achieve and move forward from one step of the process towards the software lifecycle in order to deliver your product or project. Again, test exit criteria is important because this tells us when to stop. If we allow the team to continue testing, they will test forever and continue to find issues. That's why we need to have some proper test exit criteria in order to achieve, let's say, 100% of test coverage with 95% or above pass rate and no critical or high defects within the timeline that we set for test execution. This can vary between each test level. We might have a different exit criteria for component, but a completely different one for system or acceptance test. It is not enough to think of test entry and of test exit criteria. It is very important to be able to report based on them. This will help ensure that the processes are in place and you always can receive the necessary information required to evaluate both entry and exit criteria. This should be covered during the test planning stage. So let's not forget, even though we discuss about test exit and test entry criteria across the test levels and across the test phases, this must be documented within test planning, and there also needs to be a proper definition within the test planning phase on how to report and how to collect the metrics required for these two criteria. On top of this, as a test manager, it is important that we ensure that members of the test team are not only aware, but also responsible for providing the proper information required in order to evaluate both the entry and exit criteria. Okay, now let's talk about software test closure. This is the stage that is mostly forgotten by most of the professionals, but this is a stage that consists of finalizing and archiving the testware and evaluating the test process, including the preparation of a test evaluation report. Once test execution is deemed to be complete, so the test exit criteria has been met, there are a set of key outputs that need to be evaluated and stored, not only for future reference, but also in order to support with the test process improvement for later products or for later projects down the road. During the test closure activity, the following need to be accomplished. We have a clear test completion report ensuring that all test work has concluded. We make sure that we have a proper handover of the test documents that have been designed, implemented, and used during test execution. We have a lessons learned session in order to understand what happened and what are the areas that we need to improve on. And finally, we archive the test results, and here I'm talking about logs, reports, or any other documents that were used during the test process. After completing test closure, we mainly completed our walkthrough through test analysis, design, implementation, and execution, where we also referenced test planning and the test closure activities. For our next videos, we are going to have a quick reminder of what test conditions are and then move into test reviews.